you're looking to make a move to the Halifax Peninsula, there's 5 main areas where you could live: the South End, the North End, Central Halifax, Downtown Halifax, and of course, the neighborhood that I'm going to be featuring today, the West End. Now, all of these neighborhoods have their own pros, and they all have their own distinct feel as well. So today, I'm going to show you why I consider the West End to be the best neighborhood in Halifax. And make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you my favorite 3 pockets in the West End that I always recommend to clients who are looking to purchase a property in the West End of Halifax. But just before I get into it, if you're new here, my name is Andrew Stevens and I've been a realtor in Halifax for 9 years. And if you're looking to be educated on the Halifax real estate market, then this is the channel for you. So go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And if you're thinking about making a move to Halifax and you want to chat about the real estate market, you can reach out to me anytime in the calendar link below my description at a time when it's convenient for you. Alright, so I've got 8 points that I want to make in this video, so I'm going to hop right into it, and number 1 is family neighborhood. The West End is a family area and it has a great family vibe. Most of the residents in the West End have lived here for years and years. However, over the last few years especially, we're starting to see some of these areas in the West End turn over as new families are moving in while more seniors are downsizing and moving out. Honestly, it's the type of neighborhood that when people move in, they usually stay for a long time, and it's the type of neighborhood that a lot of families consider for the location of their forever home. It's also known for its great school zones, especially for the younger ages, and all of the areas on the peninsula go to the same high school, which is Citadel High. Alright, now number 2, convenient commuting. The traffic in Halifax has been getting worse for years, and the infrastructure to fix this anytime soon is really lacking. So when you're in the West End of Halifax, you're extremely convenient. You're very close to the McKay and McDonald bridges, you're close to Highway 102 and Highway 103 as well. Commuting on the Halifax Peninsula can be a bit of a challenge if you're driving, as they've added bus lanes throughout the city, so it's a lot slower, as usually there's only 1 lane on a lot of the main arteries. And comparing the West End to the South End of Halifax, it's a lot more convenient because when you're in the South End, it might take you 5, 10, or 15 minutes just to get out to the West End. And then comparing this to the North End of Halifax, we're a lot closer to downtown. So the West End location, in my opinion, is the best location on the Halifax Peninsula. And speaking of downtown, this brings me to my 3rd point. So number 3, proximity to downtown. Depending on the exact location that you're in the West End, you're only going to be about a 5 or 10 minute drive to the downtown core. And if you're towards the southern side of the West End, you can actually walk right downtown in about 15 or 20 minutes, depending on where you're coming from. Alright, so moving on to number 4, and this one is green spaces. The West End is a beautiful area in general, and a huge bonus to this are the gorgeous green spaces throughout. To name a few, there's Westmount Park, Flynn Park, Ardmore Park, Horseshoe Island Park, which overlooks the beautiful Northwest Arm. Not to mention, if you're in the West End, you're either a very quick drive or you're even within walking distance to the well-known Halifax Commons, which has a ton of green space, ball fields, the Oval, a skate park, and a swimming pool. Alright, so moving on to number 5, and this one is one of my favorite points about the West End, the local restaurant scene. Some of the best dining in all of Halifax is located in the West End, and you'll have all kinds of options, everything from snack bars right up to high-end dining. Some of my local favorites include Elliott and Vine, Brooklyn Warehouse, Ronaldo's, Studio East, Robie Street Station, The Armview, and Cheeky Neighbor. And if you're looking for great coffee, there's 2 main places that I would recommend for killer coffee, and this one is Dilly Dally and Java Blend. Now moving on to number 6, and this one is character. Now there's all sorts of different property types in the West End. We're seeing mostly detached homes, but there's also some semi-detached and some condos as well. There's also some multi-unit properties, but they're usually blended into the landscape pretty well and tend not to stick out. Homes on the peninsula are generally 60 to 100 years old or even older than that, and they're beaming with character and have many different designs. So if you like character homes and you hate the cookie cutter type of neighborhoods, then the West End may be the perfect fit for you. Alright, so moving on to number 7, and this one is amenities. In the west end of Halifax, you're right in the thick of things, so amenities are only going to be minutes away no matter what you're looking for. Everything from grocery stores, drugstores, healthcare, local shops, banking, and the Halifax Shopping Centre. Whatever you need is only going to be minutes away, and depending on the exact location of where you're at, you may even be walking distance to most of these types of amenities. Alright, so last but certainly not least, let's move on to number 8, and this one is development. There's a ton of development going on in the West End, and this is good for a few different reasons. First, it's going to help ensure growth in the area, and second, it's going to bring forth more great local commercial spaces in the bottom of all these buildings, which are going to really enhance the level of convenience for you. So those are the main 8 points of why I love West End Halifax, but now that I've given you these, let's talk about current pricing structure. At the time of filming this video, the average sale price year to date in West End of Halifax is sitting right around $704,000. This is on par with the average of the Halifax Peninsula almost exactly, and it's higher than the North End, which is also a very popular area, which has an average sale price of about $502,000, but it's a lot lower than the South End of Halifax, which has an average price point of about $897,000. And if I stack this up against all of HRM, it's a higher price point than the average in HRM, which sits right around $555,000 currently, but the Peninsula is historically one of the more expensive places to purchase real estate in Halifax, and a lot of you watching from out of town may consider this $704,000 average in the West End quite cheap, even though we as Haligonians consider it pretty expensive. Now, as promised at the start of this video, I'm going to give you 3 pockets that I absolutely love in the West End of Halifax. So I love the West End overall, but these are the 3 main areas that I really like and that I always recommend to my clients. So first up is Westmount. This is a family neighborhood with only a couple of ways in and out. It's one of the more desirable neighborhoods, not only in the West End of Halifax, but in all of Halifax Regional Municipality. Westmount School is one of the more sought after elementary schools as well. Number 2, let's look at the tree-lined streets between Oxford and Windsor Street. I've lived in this area in the past and I absolutely loved it. These are gorgeous tree-lined streets with beautiful character homes, one of my favorite pockets in all of Halifax. And last but certainly not least, and I might be a little bit biased towards this one, this is the area near the Commons. This area is great because you get the best of both worlds. You get the convenient West End living, but you're also pretty close to the Commons and downtown Halifax, which makes the walkability incredible, which is a massive bonus when living in the West End. Now, these are just my top 3 areas in the West End, but to be honest, you can't go wrong anywhere you're looking in the West End of Halifax, as it truly has a ton to offer, making it a strong contender for one of the greatest neighborhoods in Halifax. From its historic charm, vibrant community, great dining experiences, green spaces, and proximity to downtown, the West End of Halifax has it all. If you've lived in the West End, or maybe you've just visited the West End, I would love to hear about your experiences in the comments below. And if you're curious about living on the Halifax Peninsula in general, I made a pros and cons video which goes into great detail about everything you need to know about living in Halifax, and you can see this up here in the corner. And if you're still here watching, thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future content. And if you want to chat with me about the Halifax real estate market, or if you're thinking about making a move to Halifax, you can reach out to me anytime in the Calendar link below my description at a time when it's convenient for you. And if you're still here watching, thanks again. I really appreciate it, and have a great day.